Morning. I'm out shopping this morning and I decided to come to the store in town where I live as opposed to where I work. It's the Lowe's. And man, it's nice to come here early in the morning. I'm the only one in the store. I kind of like the selection a little bit better from Lowe's than I do from, say, Home Depot or Rona, which are closer to my work. This isn't, I'm not advocating for one store over the other. What I like is that it's not busy here, that I can just kind of wander the aisles and get what I need. The quality of the lumber. And these 2x10s are dead straight, both directions. Like, this is nice. It's nice. I have a bit of a project that I'm building today. I'm going to start working on. I have to build a wall. I also have to put in a roof vent. Different project. That'll come later. Stay tuned for that. So I'm just going to keep shopping, grab what I need here, and enjoy this nice start to my day.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of online. No, not online. I'm actually there. Facilities maintenance.
I almost don't want to leave. It's so nice and relaxing in here. Okay, in here is where I'm going to be building that wall. Essentially, we're just closing off this section here to turn that into a legit storage room as opposed to just an alcove where everybody shoves stuff. First order of business, I got to get these lockers out of the way, which I have bolted to the wall. Earthquake purposes and all that. So I need to take those off and cut back some of that base cove down there. Start measuring and cutting. Clear the space on the floor here because I'm actually going to build my wall here and then tilt it up into position. It may seem like a very simple thing, this wall, but I always draw a plan, and the main reason I do that is, one, to remember certain measurements, like I need to remember the rough opening size because my frame isn't right here. I have to go get it. But also so I know how much material to buy. So you spend 5 minutes making a simple plan, and then you have all your information right there.
Now, when you're building something like this, a couple of things. You want to try and make it look like it was always there. Right, so that's why I'm carefully cutting the edge of this, carefully peeling this back. And I'll just leave that there. And when my new wall comes into place, I'll trim it after the fact.
So 79 inches is my width. It's actually 79 and a quarter, but that will allow me to, 79 will allow me to build the wall and tilt it up into position. 112 and a half is the height of my wall. It's actually 113, but I'm going to allow a half an inch of space again to be able to tilt it up and not run into the ceiling. I have to account for my top and bottom plates, which are 3 inches. So 112 and a half minus 3 is 109 and a half is the length of these studs. And as far as my top and bottom plates go, 79 inches is still the measure. Is take my measurement of 79 inches and subtract my rough opening size of 40 and a half. And then whatever I am left with, I divide that by 2, which will give me the length of my 2 bottom plates. Whiteboard's actually pretty handy. Maybe I should take a whiteboard with me to all my building projects. And it just so happens that this blue bin is the exact height that I need. For this. Give my board something to rest on. When framing up a wall like this, you build it on the ground and you stand it back up again. The top plate and the bottom plate are cut at the same time and attached, and then the section where the door is going to go is removed afterwards. There's a reason for that. It allows you to build it completely square and helps it hold its shape. So when you stand it up, you don't have 2 legs kind of wobbling independent of each other. Now, those of you more familiar with framing may notice that I don't have true king studs. I'm not using double top plates or a header. It's because there's nothing load bearing about this wall. Of course, it would be a big hump on the floor, right there. I'm building it out of 2x6 to give it as much rigidity as possible, but it's not bearing any load. Remember that measurement, 19.25 for the bottom plates that I put on the board there? That should give me the rough opening of my door. So I'm just going to double check that now. So what I just did there was square it up. I was 137 1/8 one way and 137 5/8 the other way. So my wall was just a little bit cockeyed. So I gave it a boot with my toe, which trued it up. So I'm now nice and square. What I should do, what I will do, is I'm gonna go grab a piece of scrap something and just screw it on diagonally. And that will hold the wall square so that it won't move anywhere. There, a little short piece, screwed cockeyed like that, is all it will take to make sure the wall stays square and doesn't move on me when I pick it up. Bit of a challenge with this 2x6 wall, there isn't quite room. I could pull out this 8-foot shelf which is completely loaded with stuff, and then narrow the width of the shelf. That would take a day unto itself. I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I will do is I will just bring the wall out far enough to allow for the shelf. It will look like a built-in, which essentially it will be when I'm done. And the wall will just have to come out a little bit from the corner here. Which, if I'm honest, the transition between the 2 walls will be a lot easier to finish if they're staggered than if I was trying to create a seamless wall. I had some help bringing the frame up here. Thank you, Frank. He also helped me transport this door up here. I don't know what it weighs, but my guess would be north of 200 pounds. It's heavy. I'll show you something, though. See this little gap here? This little crack here? It is delaminating. And a little bit of mold. Just a bit of surface mold starting here. Which is why I've got glue and clamps while I have the door off like this. I'm going to try and heal it a little bit. But the reason that this is doing that is a clue as to what an upcoming episode will be all about. I had both the frame and the door stored in our container outside. It's a little bit humid in there, and I'm going to deal with that in a future episode, and you will be able to see what my solution is for that. I am happy with how this is fitting. Any slight gaps at the top, that'll be trimmed out so it'll look finished. The width is perfect. I'm snug at the top and snug at the bottom on this wall. So it's nice and tight at the bottom. And nice and tight at the bottom there without being forced into place, which is what you want. And like I said, with this 8-foot shelving unit, it is essentially going to become a built-in, because I am going to I'm going to drywall around it. Literally put a little bit of backing on the shelf itself. And the shelf will become a part of the wall. Good luck ripping it out. But since this is going to be a storage room permanently, no one would ever take a shelving unit like that out of there. It's just too useful. So, time to anchor it in place. And then I can cut out my sole plate down here, and guess where that's going? That is going to become my header up there. But I won't put that in place until I put the door frame in. And just so you know, I'm not going to anchor it to the wall without actually confirming that I'm plumb. And I've made, I don't know if you can see that, there's a slight pencil mark there. There's another one down here. I've checked for square in the corner, so I know that I'm coming off the wall square. And then in that way, when I drop my anchors in, because it's not going to move after that, I just have to reference the lines that I made and slam it into place. What do they always say at the range? Pick up your brass. Same applies here. The wall is now successfully anchored in place, except for this area here on the drywall side of things. Yeah, so here's another thing that when you're building something like this that you may come across, and that is multiple surfaces. So this wall has 4 sides. Every single side is different. This is carpet over concrete. That's bare concrete. That's drywall over metal stud. And that is T-bar ceiling. So, in this instance here, I'm driving the plate straight into the concrete below. I'm driving the plate, the stud straight into the concrete there. Here, I will be putting some adhesive along there and screwing in, and the top's just gonna float. The reason being is I don't wanna mess with the ceiling, and I can close that gap up with a piece of trim.
And this is another reason why in this instance a 2x6 wall is a better choice, because it's more rigid.
And then once all is said and done, I will trim out this piece along here as well, just to make this look finished. I knew because of that 8-foot shelving unit there that this was going to stick out a little bit. I think I mentioned that earlier, and it does. If this was a 2x4 wall, it wouldn't stick out. I would have been able to go completely flush against there. And then had that been the case, then I would have cut this drywall and exposed this corner, get rid of the, it's whatever it is, whether it's a plastic or metal corner bead, I'd get rid of that completely and then just run a continuous seam of drywall up to the edge of my door.
But because that would have been much more work than is necessary for this type of wall,
I won't do that.
Trimming it out is much faster and a way better use of my time. And a 2x6 top plate, as compared to a 2x4 top plate, is much less prone to flexing when it's not attached to the ceiling, it's just floating.
With the wall in place, next steps are to I'll take out that bottom plate, and then I'll prep the frame and install that. In terms of protecting the carpet with a piece of metal, it doesn't take much. Just got this little thin piece of metal slipped underneath the plate, and now when I cut this, I won't make direct contact and mess up the carpet. I mentioned that I had to do a bit of work to the frame to make it fit.
And what I mean by working on the frame is
Metal door frames like this come with these clips that you just snap into place, and once they're there, they allow you to attach the frame to the framing, okay? These ones are made, these are the type of clips that are made for a metal framed wall. So I'd have my steel stud here and literally just screw straight into this through the steel stud. Because I have a wood stud here, I could take a very long screw and run it through there. Or I could do what I'm going to do and essentially turn this into the type of clip that it would be if it were for a wood framed wall. And to do that, I just have this strap. I will screw this strap with a self-tapping screw to the existing clip. And then these tabs on either side, once I position the frame in the rough opening, then you just bend these over around the wood and attach them to the wood. 3 points on either side, and that is how the frame goes in. As for the header, this is my header piece that was the bottom plate. The only purpose it serves in a frame like this is backing for drywall, because the frame actually is not screwed in anywhere along the top. So this will add strength to the wall itself and provide backing for drywall, but other than that, it doesn't do much. And speaking of backing, I have to go find some scrap wood because I will want to put another piece in there, framing something in there, and then at 4-foot spacings, put a piece of backing there, and another piece up there, and same on the other side, so that I have something to screw the drywall into when I'm at that stage. See how the clip can just pop out of there? Pops in the same way.
but that's exactly what I'm meaning right there. So now once this, the frame is in place in the rough opening, these tabs will just bend around the wood framing. And then I secure these tabs to the wood, and everybody's solid. So with these tabs folded over and screwed into place, this frame is now as solid as the wall.
And with the wall built and put in place and the door frame installed, I think I'm going to call it here for this episode. Come back next time when we start in on the next phase of this project, which is drywall. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.